Design Podcast.
Hi, this is the Future Design Podcast, and today I have Eric Sciberras. He hosts the Teamz Summit, which is around blockchain events, and also hosts the Chain Media podcast, and also talks about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you, Tag. Appreciate it. Honored to be here.
Now, likewise, thank you for being on. So you guys moved on to doing webinars during this COVID situation because of not being able to hold physical meetings or face-to-face meetings. How's that webinar shaping up?
It's actually the event itself has grown into much more than I was thinking. Because basically what happened was once the COVID situation kind of grew and grew, we had our annual Teamz Blockchain Summit was scheduled in April, end of April. So obviously we had to postpone it. So then we were kind of thinking, okay, what can we do? Because, we had sponsors for the event. We had speakers booked. We were 2 months out at the time. So we were kind of thinking, okay, what can we do? And I'm sure there was a lot of event companies, media companies thinking the same thing at the time. And obviously virtual events was a great solution for the problem. And luckily I had some experience doing virtual events in the past because luck of the draw, I had done one about maybe 3-4 years ago with like another company I was with. So I had gone through kind of like a mini course, like online course about how to set everything up and kind of like just all the little things that you wouldn't think of doing it. Because it can kind of seem like maybe something pretty simple to set up, but then there's always these little issues that come up, especially when you're dealing with technology, time zones, people from all over the world, different languages, etc. So I had kind of like a background with it. The one that I had done 3-4 years ago was in the trading space. So we basically brought in a whole bunch of different traders to basically talk about their strategies and kind of like maybe how they view the market, different things like that. So I kind of had an idea on how to set everything up. The major difference was that the one I had done before was all on demand. We didn't do any live stuff because at the time, live obviously was a big deal, but it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. Now every social media platform has a live component, and that's probably the one thing that's driving a lot of the users. So obviously we wanted to do live with this. So that was kind of a major thing. And that's kind of been the learning process for me this time around, was just incorporating the live aspect into it, managing the time zones and the scheduling and what platform we're going to use, etc. So we set this thing up. I thought maybe we would get 20 to 30 speakers, maybe a couple sponsors. But this thing has, blown up. Now we're like almost at 60 speakers and, kind of targeting the crypto blockchain space. And the speaking lineup has been crazy. So it's really good. So I'm super happy about it. And I'm excited for the event to happen.
Teamz is one of the largest blockchain events in Japan, right? And for you guys to take this online and do these virtual live streams, it must have been a huge undertaking for you guys. Can you take us through the process of how you line up the speakers, also choosing platforms, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So in terms of the speakers, we had, we had some speakers already booked for our live presentation. So those were basically the first people that we had asked if they wanted to kind of join the event. And then, just through like the network that everyone on the team, we're a team of about 10, 11 people. So everyone's kind of built up their own network. So right away, the thing is like when we're doing a live event, there's certain people who are just like a lot of speakers, they want to come to it, who doesn't want to come to Tokyo and learn about cryptocurrency and blockchain and speak on stage and, meet some incredible people. Like everyone wants to do that, but sometimes the timing doesn't line up. Sometimes the travel doesn't line up. There's so many different things that can happen. So, with this, it's just so simple, right? Like literally you can make time for a virtual event, you're literally in your own home or whatever it is. So, the speakers aspect was actually super easy. And once we started to get some big names, eventually we ended up finally getting CZ to come on. We've been trying to get him to come to our live event, but the scheduling had never matched up, and we only have one shot for that when you're doing a live event if you're doing it annually. So with this, we got lucky, and he accepted to come on as kind of like our headline speaker. And we were probably, when he came on, maybe about like in the 20 to 30 speakers, and then once he came on, everyone, a lot more speakers wanted to join, obviously. So that really helped us. So yeah, from the speaker's point of view, was great.
What kind of platforms do you use?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we decided to do with the in-person event, we do it through like the Teamz brand. So we also have our Chaintalk brand, which is kind of like a media platform. So I've been running a podcast through it. We've been doing some news and some different things. So we decided to do the virtual event through this platform called Chaintalk. So it's called the Crypto Asia Summit. So basically, I mean, all I did was I set up a landing page quickly to basically collect, like, to give out free passes. So I think like there's two ways to kind of set up a virtual event. You can kind of, when you're setting up kind of the website, you can set up just a one landing page where you're sending traffic to that landing page, giving out the free ticket, presenting all the information, all the speakers, what they're going to talk about, all this different stuff. You can include the sponsor logos, also the media that are involved, or the different partners. And then the goal of this landing page, there's no menu on it. The only goal of this landing page is to get people to sign up for a free pass, people that are interested in the event. So obviously, you're growing your email list with this, which is awesome, because what business doesn't want to grow their email list, right? And then after they sign up, then they go to the thank you page, which could be, say, an upgrade to an all access pass if you want to, say, charge for a ticket. And an all access pass would basically, so with a free pass, what we did was we were giving everyone access to each presentation for 5 days. That's another great thing about a virtual event is when the presentation is done, you can still, like, say if I'm in Mexico and it was on, say, a Japanese time zone, I can wake up and then the presentation is still available for me. I can watch it now. Whereas a live event, you just don't have that option unless maybe someone's recording it. But usually the recording never comes out that great. So that's a good thing about the virtual event is time zones don't matter. Like, it really closes borders. It brings, obviously globalization. It makes everything kind of closer together, I guess. So it's the way the world is moving. So that's kind of a really, really good aspect about it. So yeah, so then you can basically, with an all access pass, you can give them lifetime membership to every presentation and basically put that behind some sort of membership website, which is very easy to set up in WordPress. You can just kind of get a membership plugin. You restrict access to people who have an account. So you can sell, you can also make money off a ticket as well, like that. And then, you just include the different things like the schedule. You can have, say, a sponsor section, create maybe virtual booths. If you have a good designer that you work with, you can create virtual booths. So just to give like the sponsors something new, or something different, something cool that to attract people to click. So you can set up a virtual booth, put the link to their website, and then people can click it. Maybe they include some sort of special promotion. And actually it could probably drive, a lot more, it could drive some instant revenue for the sponsor, instead of maybe a live event where they have to do a lot more networking and maybe it takes a bit more time to make things happen to actually get an ROI from the event. Whereas a virtual event, it can happen just like that. So basically you want to set up the landing page, the thank you page, kind of all this stuff. With the live aspect, obviously you need to incorporate some sort of like a Zoom or a Vimeo live stream. And then if you have on-demand presentations, you're going to need to use something like a Vimeo anyways to upload the video embedded on a page. You can use YouTube if you don't want to pay for Vimeo as well. And then you would just wait. What we did was we create a page for each speaker. So each speaker has their own individual page. And then you can embed the video, you embed their bio, their name, company, all their information basically. And then once you have your schedule, once the event starts, say if Taka, your presentation is, May 18th at 9 a.m., maybe 5 to 10 minutes before that, we email that presentation. We email it that it's going live out to all the attendees, and now they can come watch it. And we just do that for each presentation, so all the attendees can stay up to date on and just be able to attend it once it happens. We incorporate, if it a live aspect, obviously with Zoom you have the live chat function, so it's very interactive. And then if it's on demand, we just put a live chat on the page, and then once that presentation is now available, then the speaker can come in and interact with people in the live chat as they're watching it, and they can kind of come back each day and see like if anyone's commented. And so the networking aspect, I mean, you would think like, hey, it's a virtual, how are you going to network with people? But actually it's like an ongoing networking, just like if you were within Facebook, LinkedIn, things like that. The networking kind of just, it happens, and it's actually much easier to connect. You know, instead of maybe handing out a business card, maybe I'll lose the business card. Maybe I get a bunch of business cards and I don't do anything with them. I mean, I do that all the time. With this, it's like instant, right? Hey, you know, I met you. I'll add you on LinkedIn right now. Now we're basically LinkedIn friends forever. So that aspect is great.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of things going on at the same time. So you have these live feeds, you have these chats going, Zoom calls, virtual booths. I mean, you're embedding all this into one web page, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And then how do you keep that ongoing? I mean, there's always going to be like some technical failures that, you know, probably comes to mind when you're designing these things. What do you do to prevent all this from happening?
That's a good question. I mean, with this one is going to be, so with the last one I did, everything was on demand. It was very simple. You know, you get everyone's presentation beforehand, and then you're uploading it to Vimeo. And then once the event starts, then you're making everything accessible. Now with this, obviously with the live aspect, if you have, say, 30 speakers that are doing live presentations and 30 speakers that are doing on-demand presentations, and then 2 days prior, 5 presenters who didn't do their on-demand presentation now want to switch to a live presentation, and then you have to set up, because if you're doing a live presentation, you have to set up the Vimeo webinar. You have to link it to the WordPress, depending on how you're kind of doing the ticketing aspect of it. So you have to kind of link everything and make sure everyone's aware that this person is now doing live. Hey, you have to go to this Zoom link. So we've been starting to get some speakers that want to change from on demand to live. We're still about 3 weeks out, so it's easier to make the transition. I'm anticipating as we get closer, there's going to be more speakers who just want to do a live presentation now. So that's kind of like one area where just the organization, now you're at 60 speakers trying to make everybody happy. That's one aspect. And then obviously the other aspect is just the technology. I mean, you never know if someone's connection is going to be good, if your connection is going to be good, if your computer freezes because it overheats or whatever. Like, there's so many different things when you're dealing with a live aspect that could happen. And you only got really one shot to do the presentation when it's live. So that I'm hoping goes smoothly. I mean, nowadays, 9.9 times out of 10, a live presentation is going to go good. Maybe sometimes it could be a bit choppy here and there, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of with the technology side, it's just the luck of the draw. Just make sure your end is good. Maybe do a practice run, get on 10 to 15 minutes before with the speaker, make sure their technology is all set up and good. Maybe you can give them some type of like email before, like, hey, make sure, that, you know, your connection is strong. You're not really running anything else on your computer at the time that could maybe slow it down. You're plugged in, your computer's fully charged. You're plugged into a charger. So yeah, things like that, I think are good.
What kind of technical requirements do you think you need from the other side? I mean, you know, not everybody has this studio size, you know, studio level microphone that you have right now, or webcams that have good, you know, kind of visibility. I mean, you know, what is probably like the standards, or at least, you know, the base level of equipment that you require from your speakers?
Yeah. I think like, I mean, most nowadays, like most webcams, like right now I'm using just my Mac webcam. I'm not using any, you know, store-bought webcam. So I think usually cameras now are really good as long as you have like an updated computer. are very good. This mic I'm using is it's ATR 2100. So this is like kind of the standard mic for podcasting. So I mean, I think I bought this maybe for like $40 or something like that. Very simple. I mean, there's tons of different mics you can get for really cheap. So I think like, I mean, audio is just, it makes such a difference, you know, like when someone's got, say, just maybe like maybe they're using their microphones as opposed to like the mic on their earphones, or maybe like an actual mic. I mean, it just makes so much difference. Like the sound aspect to it, I think is good. It doesn't need to be something that you're holding. Like right now, I'm just holding this because I'm at my house and I don't have like a stand or anything to hold it up. But you can also get one of those where it kind of meets you here, or maybe it's like over here, something like that. But even sometimes, like on the headphones, the mic on the headphones is still really good. In terms of like the details of like the actual tech specs, I couldn't get into details like that because I'm not too sure. But I think like, I mean, most standard stuff nowadays is perfectly fine.
Yeah. And are there any do not do's kind of thing that you have in mind when you're actually hosting these webinars or virtual events?
That's a good question. I would say like, obviously, I think the best thing to do is to be just as genuine as possible. So like obviously having something prepared, like don't come in not prepared for the presentation. Like, hey, I'm just going to wing this. Maybe have like a lot of speakers have been asking, hey, should we use slides? Should we just have like the camera focusing on us? Should we do maybe an interview style? I would say have a plan in place. Like, if you're going to do a presentation, have your presentation ready to screen share. If you're going to do an interview, have everything ready. Maybe like kind of talk to the person a little bit ahead of time just to make sure you guys are on the same page. So I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what you're trying to get across. The other thing too is don't make it a sales pitch. You know, like a lot of companies love to do the sales pitch. I really don't understand that at this point in life. I mean, we know that people don't listen to sales pitches anymore. They shy away from them. You know, you got to give value now. So I've been just trying to tell all the speakers, like, just we encourage you to give a presentation that adds value to someone, teaches them something, maybe shows them something cool. I mean, you can still incorporate your business into it. You know, like obviously you have a business. If you're doing something with it, so there's got to be something that you can incorporate into driving value, giving value to the viewer. I mean, even if you're sponsoring an event, you know, a lot of sponsors, because they think, okay, I'm paying money to sponsor this event, I want to pitch my product, I want people to see what I'm doing. But you have to think of it in a way as, how am I going to give value? How am I going to make someone understand what I'm doing and want them to try it out? And that's by showing them how it's going to change their life, how it's going to, you know, give them a positive benefit. So I'd say number one thing is don't do a sales pitch. Make sure your technology is, I mean, you got to be professional. Make sure your technology is all set up good. You got to do some of the work yourself, like to make sure everything is set up correctly. Yeah, I'd say those are kind of the things.
Yeah, we're actually, when you're on stage, you wear your best suit or your dress, your hair looks perfect, and you have this big screen behind you. I guess in these online webcams, I mean, it's not like it's going to show everything that you want to project about yourself. You're like in this rectangle, and you know, your background might not be ideal for you. Or for me, what I usually say is look into the camera, right? Because a lot of the times, you know, you're looking at a visual of somebody on the other side of the screen, but actually the camera is not exactly where their face is, right? So you're kind of tending to look up or down or sideways, but you're not looking into the camera. So I think that's another thing that I always think is necessary, because if you're not looking at the people, I mean, you're losing them, right?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And actually, I never thought about that. That's an excellent point. That's probably something I should be doing now. I think I'm like looking in the corner a bit.
Wink, wink, right? So far, Teamz is 3 months away Now, you said there was 60 speakers, and then what? And I'm sure the audience size is pretty big as well. I mean, how much preparations in terms of time and then amount of people do you need to get this thing going?
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, it basically for us, it's just our whole team is kind of doing their part. So I've been kind of the managing the whole event, and just making sure like all the pieces are in place, and then contributing to I guess all aspects. Then we have some people who are just focusing on getting sponsors, some people who are focusing on the speaker side of things in the media, all our partners. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're like a team of 10. I would say like maybe 5 or 6 of us are really kind of contributing to the event right now, like on a daily basis, and then some people maybe here and there. So I mean, it doesn't really take much work. The one that I had done in 3 4 years ago, I did it pretty much all by myself, and I had like a partner that was helping me. They helped me bring like a lot of the attendees. They had a pretty big network of people, so they really helped me just with my reach on that part. So I mean, it really doesn't take much, but if you're going to do it solo, obviously this is like kind of the one thing that you need to be focusing on, because there's just so many pieces that you have to be controlling, especially if you're have like 60 speakers, because that's, I mean, just managing 60 people, it can be tough.
Yeah. And then usually for your own physical events, how long does it take? How many months in preparations do you need?
So we usually start maybe about 4 or 5 months out for the physical one. So I mean, obviously we have like some experience now, so we know, okay, we already know the venue we're going to ahead of time. We know basically all the things we need to do, so the process is much quicker. Teams had started doing events actually before I was a part of the team, so I'm sure like when they started doing them, I'm not sure how long it took them, but now a lot of the pieces are in place for the physical events, so it doesn't take too much long to set up. For the online event, we started it maybe about 2 months out, I'd say. And we could have probably done it sooner. I just wanted to be a bit cautious, just because this was like our first one doing it together. So I just wanted to make sure it was going to be really good. Everything was in place, and we didn't rush. We didn't rush it. So yeah, we're about 2 months out.
And also the most important part I feel about physical events is that the networking is so much easier, because you just bump into people, or you can arrange to meet, or there's a lot of serendipity as well.
Mm-hmm.
In these type of online formats. I mean, that serendipity part is a little bit difficult to achieve, but at the same time, when everybody's logging in and chatting, in one room at the same time, maybe there is a way to meet people. I mean, what is your kind of words of encouragement for people to get on to webinars?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say for a virtual event, the opposite is better. Whereas, like you said, like you go to a lot of these blockchain events and you're seeing kind of a lot of the same people, and you can get closer with them like that by kind of seeing them regularly. But with this one, it's like you can literally have someone from Mexico, or someone from Peru, and then also maybe someone from India or someone from Russia, and they're all in the same chat together. So it's like, I think that aspect is so cool, because I love like when kind of like different cultures can come together for like something similar that they enjoy. I think it's just really cool. So I think that aspect of the virtual events is awesome. Just being able to meet people, and the business aspect too. I mean, if say if you're running a consulting firm and you have clients now, clients they don't just want to be in one country, right? They want to be in several countries. You can meet maybe someone else that's doing the same thing in another country as you, and you guys can now start to work together. Hey, I have a client that wants to expand their business into Russia. Now we can work together with them, things like that. So, I mean, I think this just opens up, opens up opportunity to meeting much more people, because there's a lot of, especially in crypto blockchain, there's a lot of people interested in the space that aren't able to make it to events, right? Maybe there's not a lot of events that happen in their country or where they're from, and they don't want to travel so far to go to an event. So this gives an opportunity to bring everyone kind of into one event.
At the same time, and while you're online, there's obviously, when you go through Instagram or any of these social media, there's a lot of trolls who write bad comments. And I mean, how do you control that?
Yeah. I mean, that I think just comes down to having like some moderators in the groups, making sure that none of that is acceptable. So, like if say we're doing a Telegram group or we're doing say a live webinar, maybe state the rules ahead of time. Hey, this is the time we're going to do a Q&A, so don't ask questions before that. Save your questions to this time. Don't do this, don't do that. Don't post links to your business. Don't swear, etc. Some functions, like if you're doing comments in your WordPress site or live chat, you can moderate comments like automatically, so you can maybe blacklist some keywords, you can blacklist links, things like that. So you can even do that in Telegram. You can blacklist links and things like that. So I'd say like have like maybe a moderator there just to make sure that no spam is happening, and then maybe have some automatic kind of rules in place beforehand. But I mean, for the most part, I think people that are coming for the right intentions. And obviously, you're always going to have a couple of trolls online, but I think it's pretty easy to manage them.
Cool. Oh, thank you very much for the tips on creating webinars and virtual events. I mean, I think right now, because of the COVID situation, a lot of event companies are, feeling a lot of the pain at the moment because they can't have physical events. So this type of advice, I think, would encourage a lot of people to, start webinars and all these stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. If you're interested in crypto blockchain, whether you're a beginner in it or you don't know nothing about it, but you're interested, or maybe you know some stuff about it, definitely come to our event. You get a free pass. So it's a no-brainer. You're likely at home chilling anyways. So just go to chaintalk.media/summit. And yeah, you just grab your free pass, and the event starts May 18th, goes to May 23rd. There's going to be about 60 presentations. We're going to have some panels, and you'll have access to everything for 5 days. So no matter what time zone you're in, you can participate, watch, hit up the live chat. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email is eric@chaintalk.media.
In the next episode, we have Dr. Aaron Smith, who's an associate professor at the Edith Cowan University and specializes in disaster emergency response. She'll be talking to us about the current state of the first responders and the healthcare workers and their mental health during this COVID situation. So stay tuned for the next episode. Hi, this is your host Takatoshi Shibayama. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Now, if you enjoyed or disliked the show, please let me know by writing in the comment section. The only way I can improve or add value to you is through your voices. If there are any topics that you would like me to pick up, please also let me know in the comments. I'd love to start chatting with you all. And if you would like to continue watching the show, please subscribe. Thank you.